Today is Wednesday, May 24th, and CYBL is still not paying current. Hello and welcome back to the latest edition of BFC Live, where we go into the trenches of the OTC and hope to come back unscathed. And for many long holders, we're feeling the burn. We're going to talk about that and more. But man, oh man, welcome back. How you guys doing? Let's take a look at the chat section. In the comments. How you guys doing? Hi, Steve. Bella, what's up? Bill, Dennis, Jord, you're always welcome to hop on. Jord's knee is killing him. Jord, I hope you feel better. Shout out to you. And hey, you're always welcome to jump on. I did give him the link, so maybe you guys could peer pressure him into joining the show. Okay, I'm not going to do that to you, but I don't know. Maybe we could get you on today. All right, we got Baller. Who else do we got? Dino, Justin. All right, guys, it is great to have all of you here. We have a lot to talk about today. And I know I was putting together this show and I'm like, man, this is just a lot. It's a lot of information. But, I want this to be, what's up, Doug? I want this to be a source for due diligence where we could all come together. And, if any of you guys ever want to join the show and share a stock that you're really passionate about and share some DD, this is what this is about. This is what it's about at Buffalo Fireside Chats, is that we have an open platform for communicating, and we could talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. So, George, can't move to a better spot. Yeah, man. Well, welcome, everybody. But before I indulge in any stocks tonight, let me sincerely say thanks to all of you that have hit that subscribe button and joined the BFC. I'm so happy about where this show is going. So if you haven't already, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't joined the family yet. So, man, we do have a nice guest waiting in the waiting room. But before we get there, I want to talk about a new stock. All right. And this one's new. And so just so you guys know, if I'm not like paying attention so much to the chat, it's because I'm screen sharing. So the one I wanted to start with today was... Let's do this. I heard some kind of crashing going on out there. Yes, if you ever hear the insanity going on in the background, I live in an insane asylum. So just bear with me. So let's just do this right here. All right. Here we are. We're going to talk about GRPS. This is one I'm very excited about. Absolutely excited. So market cap of 3.8 million, 3 billion authorized shares, an outstanding share count of 1.3 billion, and they have a restricted share count of 306 million. The float is 896 million. I talked to the CEO. I'm going to talk more about that in a second, but I wanted to share this one with you because if you look at like where a lot of these stocks are in the year, they have retraced significantly, and I think it creates a buying opportunity for us. So I'm trying to find the companies in which I could contact the CEOs, the companies that are trying to get government contracts, the companies that are trying to better an industry, the companies that have legitimate products and communication with their shareholders. So this, so far, based on my due diligence, fits the bill. All right. This is their website. How do you see food? So this is all about shrimp farming. And they are trying to make this absolutely better. So those of you that may not know where you get your shrimp from, and I was talking with Jordan about this too. When it says wild shrimp, you're not really getting wild shrimp. These shrimp are farmed in ponds, essentially. And based on my conversation with Adam Thomas, the CEO of this company, he was explaining that sometimes they have up to 500 shrimp per square meter. That's not good. That's not good for any thing that you're going to eat. You know what I mean? Because I'm one of those people that I love my butcher box. I love my free range chicken. You could actually taste the difference. When I go to a butcher, when I go to a farmer to get meat, I could taste the difference. So this is what they're doing for the seafood industry. They're trying to make it better, trying to make our shrimp. Here it is. Transamerican Aquaculture produces premium quality, farm-raised white shrimp, 100% free of antibiotics and hormones, and cultivated using safe and sustainable practices. And I'm going to get into more of this as the weeks go by. And, they basically are vertically aligned. It's going to be great. It's based in Texas, and they actually have the biggest shrimp farm in America. So let's read through this. Trans-American Aquaculture was founded by the Granda family. I hope I'm saying that right. If I'm not, I apologize. And their business partners. The Granda family have been a major producer and seller of shrimp in Ecuador for 5 decades. In 2017, the family and a select group of business partners purchased an 1,800-acre parcel of land in Rio Hondo, Texas, with the goal of building the largest U.S.-based, land-based producer of Pacific white shrimp in the United States. So we could just coast through this website here. It looks great. I think let's go look who's on the board. They have all their PRs, board of directors. This is, by the way, this is Adam Thomas. All right. Adam has over 13 years of financial management and operations experience working in both private and public companies. He has extensive capital budgeting, profit and loss, and modeling experience to complement his successful operational background. Went to Bowling Green State, and he's VP of Operations, JP Morgan Chase from 2006 to 2013, 2015 to the present. And, this guy obviously knows what he's doing. He seems pretty well equipped in the business world. And so basically, here, let me do something real quick. I did want to share with you guys today that he will be joining me next week. So make sure you, I had to do that with the shrimp. This was one of my most favorite thumbnails that I did. So next Wednesday, yeah, I was annoying the family with the bubbles yesterday by doing that. I'm like, I need the perfect bubble sound. So he will be joining me next week, Wednesday, during our live, and we will be having an open Q&A. So come one, come all. If you're looking for a new investment that might be substantial, I think this could be it. Right now, they're producing 2 million pounds of shrimp, give or take, from what I recall. And so they're looking to like double and triple that and go beyond that. And I asked him about a farm to door, sort of like how ButcherBox does. Let me know in the comments section whether or not you guys do that. Do any of this stuff? Do you do any of the ButcherBox, Good Shop? What's another one? Good Ranchers. That's another one that where you could get your meat delivered to you. It's just one of those things where if I had the chance to get fresh food that's better and grown more appropriately, and like I said, it's vertically aligned. They actually own all the genetics to all this stuff, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to have him on. Hop on next Wednesday and ask this guy any questions that you want. Maybe this could be a significant long-term investment. So Omaha, all right, Omaha. Bella likes Omaha steaks. So, all right. So that is a little bit about GRPS. I'm looking to get in those guys. Going to get an entry at some point in the next couple of weeks. I'm hoping it's low enough now. There's been a significant retracement to the point where it's sort of everything's a gamble, but I like the business model. I like what they're probably going to do. So next stock I want to talk about is, where am I here? There we are. Still, I go to Butchers. Yeah, just go right to the source. All right. We're going to talk about that's Dddx. We're not doing that. We're doing Dvlp, not triple DX yet. We're going to get the triple DX. 0027. I need to make an entry on this. I totally do. This was a reaction to the fact. I don't know what this is a reaction to. I'm like, honestly, I think this guy's been pretty transparent. We're going to talk to somebody soon who is very well versed in Dvlp, but let me just give you the nuts and bolts of this. 5.2 million market cap, 2.5 billion authorized shares, outstanding share count of 1.4 billion with a restricted count of 44 million. I like, one thing I'm finding out with these stocks, I want to see a high restricted share count, because that means they're having a lot of times people in their company investing in themselves. And that's really what I want to see, is people investing in themselves. A float of about $500 million. Here's their most recent PR. This was from February 7th. This was an official PR. Global Developing Solutions announces December 2022 sales exceed 5.6 million. For 1 month, that's good. So the company has achieved unaudited December 2022 sales of 5.6 million. Billion would be pretty damn bitchin'. With the largest customer still to be onboarded. With this addition, we are at our targeted run rate from the acquisitions. It also expects significant increase in revenues after the 4 previously announced acquisitions are fully transitioned. During this final process of transitioning and onboarding customers, we expect a brief dip in Q1 sales, followed by a robust rebound and acceleration After completed, the company will again begin to acquire more acquisitions in the specialty pharmacy market, which also will become another event that should further increase company revenues, helping it reach its 2023 goals. And so let's look at the quote from Stavros. I'm probably saying that wrong, but whatever. I'm sorry. Mr. Triant, I'm just going to say that's much easier. First of all, we are happy to see December sales exceed 5.6 million, along with the final customer onboarding would have easily hit our 2022 monthly run rate. We will finish the transitions in Q1 and begin to grow organically as we continue our acquisition strategy. Now, I'm going to put the link to this to the article in the description. So do your DD. If you look at the description, I put a ton of links in there for you guys to read. All right, so let's go back. I want to introduce somebody who's really going to give us more of the info on Dvlp. This guy is all Dvlp. He's been investing for 13 or 14 years. He's been very successful. Please welcome to the program, Mr. Hobbs from Twitter. Mr. Hobbs, welcome to the BFC. How you doing?
Oh, great. Thanks for having me. I appreciate that. Yeah, so just to add to what you were saying about the Dvlp there, for the revenues, if you look at the press release that says they're expecting additional bump of revenues of 35 to 40% upon completion of onboarding the largest customer. Well, I did the math on that, and 40%, if you show my screen there, can people see it?
They can now.
Okay. So if you look at the calculator there at 40% down or 40% more is $2.24 million on top of the 5.6. So that's 7.8 million per month. That would be basically. So that is absolutely huge. And if the same revs for 12 months, it would be $94 million. That's once the big customer is fully onboarded and everything's completed. Now, what we do see in the interview that I had done with Stavros there, you can see that when I asked him about the revenues and the onboarding, hold on one second, he had told us that there was up to 9.5 or about 9, between 7 and 9.5 million, maybe a little bit higher, that was made in Q4 of 2022. Now I'm going to give you that clip here right away as well too here. And this is direct from the meeting itself. So if I don't copy the link, and I should be able to play it right here for you, and I'll see if that works for you guys. I put it in the private chat there. Can you click on that and actually show or click on the link?
Let me click on it and see if I could share it, and you guys can let us know if you could hear it or not. All right, do you want me to share this?
Yeah, try it right now. See if that one works.
All right, let's do that. All right, see, I'm getting a little better at this. Let me know if you guys could hear this.
I can't hear anything myself. Well, they can watch it themselves then if we can't get it to work like that. I can put all the links and you can just share the links with everybody after. But we'll continue on with what I have for the DD here.
All right, yeah. I don't know if you guys were able to hear that or not, but that's what I'll do. I'll put it in the chat. That way they could take a look at it.
Yeah, I couldn't personally hear it myself when you were playing it, so I don't know.
Yeah, I actually heard it on my end, obviously, even for so I just want to make sure that they're able to get the information out. So
right.
Let's do this. Boom. There you guys put that and save it. And as he shares these things, I'm going to put it right in the chat. You could probably put it right in the comment section too. I don't know if you have access to that or not, but just keep taking it away, sir. I'm going to put your stream back up there.
Okay, sure. And back to some DD on the company itself. Institutional investors are holding between 160 and 180 million shares. So there's definitely interest from the big banks as well. Let's see here. Now, one of the links, it said that we had almost control. We had most control of 2 of the 3 main acquisitions. Now, if you look in the filings, it actually says we are in full control of 2 of the 3 main ones, as the software was handed over to them. I believe it was in March, and since March 23rd to March 31st, they were actually able to record revenue as revenue. That's why when you look in the 10Q, you will see the revenue is really low. But Mr. Stavros said he's going to be putting out a press release to explain about how we're supposed to be able to decipher how the other parts of the revenues are based on 805 accounting term, I do believe it is, and how they have to separate the investment into different parts. And so you can't really tell there's revenue when there really is. And that really confused investors at first until he explained it in the question and answer interview we had about a month ago. It was actually April the 19th, if my memory serves me correct.
That was an excellent interview, by the way. That was excellent. Really good job.
I appreciate
Kudos
that. Thank you. It was good to actually hear him talk after what last time he said anything was in October, November, December area.
Yeah, and if you want to drop that in a private chat at some point before you leave, definitely. That way I could share it. And next time I do any Dvlp video, I could always put that in the link so that way people could watch it.
I will share all the clips that I had made, and I will also share the direct the link for the entire interview as well. Okay, so now those 2 acquisitions that were completed are the Orchard Trails Pharmacy and New Hudson. Now, those are the ones I do believe that are in Michigan. So also there's, see, I wish we could have listened to this. Maybe you can hear it on my side if I play it. Let's try that.
You guys let me know.
Just give me 1 second here. I'm going to try the revenues up to 9.5 million first to see if it works here. The first one I'd sent you guys. Now that everybody wants to know, since you can't really put the revenue online or on the balance sheet properly, what exactly are our revenues for Q4?
So we can put in there, and I think we might do an amendment to the K, right? We can put in there, this is an investment on the balance sheet. When we have full control, we will take those over, and those investments produce X amount of sales. We feel like we can do that. We know our December number, obviously. We're working on the October, November ones. We feel like it's going to be in that 7.5 to 9.5 million range, maybe a little higher. There are a lot of pieces and parts in there of trying to figure out who prescribed what, who billed what, and who's responsible for what revenue. And when you're talking about the amount of dollars that go out in just a few prescriptions, that can be skewed by a... Okay, so that's the one of the clips that I have there. Now, were you guys able to hear that or not? I'm not sure.
Absolutely, I heard it, and they said that they could hear it. So
and they could hear it too. Great. Okay, so we can go through the clips. I will play them as they come up. Then, as we go through the information, then I just need a minute to figure out which ones they are at the time, but we'll get through this together here. Okay, so now back to where I was. Okay, repeatable revenues. Now, this is about Florida and, well, about the whole business model in general. Hold on 1 sec. I'll just get this one out. There we go. Now, I'm going to close that one so it doesn't get confusing. Can you hear all that now?
I don't have it shared right here.
Oh, okay. Wrong one then.
Yeah, I think you click. You X'd it out.
Oh, I closed. Okay, I see what I did. Yeah, okay, I'll fix that right now. My mistake.
Somebody mentioned, and this was really cool. Why you get that back up. And somebody mentioned about a roadmap. Justin mentioned DVLP needs a full roadmap. And who else said that? Cosman 32 DVLP roadmap definitely needed. I love when a company does that. I like when they lay everything out that there's, and you know what? The thing is this, they don't have to like follow that to a T. They could adjust it. Any good business does adapt, to what market they're facing and, what opportunities they have. But I do like when companies lay it out, say, hey, this is our vision for this year. We're going to pivot when we have to, but this is where we see ourselves by the end of the year. And I like when companies do that. So I have to definitely agree with those guys right there. Thanks for commenting. All right, here is your, there you go.
Okay, I do believe I have it up now here.
You got it.
Okay, let's try that again.
You got it?
You'll start seeing Ozempic that people were using for diabetes.
Sorry, did you guys hear that, or was?
Yep.
You can still hear it. Okay.
These are something that's now being used for like weight loss very successfully. There's stuff out there that has a good impact, and those drugs get so popular from the doctors because they work, right? And those drugs like have, I'm telling you, more demand than we can supply right now. And so now working forward on some of the things, we know that there's avenues to grow very quickly. That's the greatest part. When you know that's
and no. Okay, so I can only do a minute maximum for those. So that's all I can do for those. However, let's see here. Okay, so we have the repeatable revs. The CEO has said he will have news next week. The first time since I believe it was February the 7th. The CEO does not pump on Twitter, as we all know. It can be good, but it can be bad. But in the long run, it just shows that he's really a big board CEO and not a pump and dumper like a lot of the scam CEOs in the market, to be honest with you. The assets increased 1.37 or 1.30 million since last reporting period. That's based on the, I believe that would be based on the acquisitions of those two companies. I'm not sure exactly for fully transition. It could be. That's where the CEO has to explain a bunch of this stuff to us, right? So, okay, now this is a big one. Completed the Reg A at the end of Q4 2022 to help raise money to buy the 4 acquisitions. Now, what that does for us, as far as I'm concerned, okay, so there's a lot of companies out there. There's tons. And a lot of them have Series A, Series B, Series C, Series D, Series E, Series F, etc. And those are all preferred shares. And a lot of those convert at numbers like 1 every share you have for, I'm just getting interrupted. Hold on, I'm sorry. I'm just going to ignore that. Okay, so every time the preferred shares, they can convert at 1 for 100 or 1 for 1,000 or 1 for 10,000. But a lot of investors don't realize these things and they don't see that. So it can be hidden when acquisitions come out and they say, oh, we're doing it for Series B converted or Series B shares and we're giving them 50,000. But meanwhile, investors don't realize that those 50,000 convert into 5 billion. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So a lot of that can be hidden. And that's one thing about this company that really brought my eyes to it to begin with. When they did the Reg A, okay, fine. It's a hurt at the time because they're obviously doing dilution. Well, that's done and over with. So being that that's done and over with, we won't have these hidden shares hitting the market. The only convertible shares that are in this company are in Stavros Triant's possession, and those are basically the 320 million regular shares that he had, the commons, that he converted, I believe it was in December, to 320,000. So you convert those back, I think it's at 1,000 per one, but it's still only 320 million, you see. So there's no extra shares coming out.
Exactly.
And he has no plans to convert those to regular shares until the company's on NASDAQ and he decides what he wants to do with them. He's the only one with the preferred shares, as all acquisitions were based on loans, not any dilution for the Reg A. And I will repeat that is done and completed, means no hidden dilution in the future. So
that's huge. That's really huge. And the fact that he did exactly what he said he was going to do, that's a positive sign for me for an investor from an investment standpoint, is when there is follow through with what they say they're going to do, like canceling shares, or if we're going to switch, we're going to move these to an outstanding share count, or we're going to take these away, we're going to cancel a certain percentage of management shares. That follow through is key, and that's what really earns the trust, in my opinions, of investors and potential investors. So, and by the way, I don't want you guys to think I'm being rude. I'm actually taking notes like I usually do. So if I am looking down, Mr. Hobbs, please don't think I'm being rude, sir.
Oh, no worries. I got all these computer screens open and going on here. I got tab after tab. So it's all good. I totally understand.
You got it, man.
Totally get it, how that works. Okay, so also there's one big investment bank that wants to do research reports, and he's going in June to meet with them. Now, I have that clip here as well. I have a few other ones. I'm just going to mention them as we go on here. Just going to scroll up 1 second here. Now that we know they work properly, it's a lot easier to work with. Okay, so there's a lot of really good information in that interview. And like I said, I will put the exact link for it here soon as well. Okay, so here's the research report one. Let's see if I can get this one in one click.
Sam, I got a comment on that. Real nice.
Report planned from somewhere or something?
We have one institution. They're big players, right? These guys have massive amounts of money. We had one institution that kind of was working on it. I think a lot of those guys were waiting for the K to be filed. So we'll see what kind of feedback I get over the next few weeks. I wouldn't be surprised if someone wanted to. I know they're going to frown a lot of the revenues too, but they'll understand what that is. Whether their compliance departments will let them write research reports, they may wait for the first quarter filings to come out, which is whatever, the next 30 days. We'll have a Q1, right?
Okay, so Q1 is now done. So now that actually shows revenue, not much, mind you, based on the amount of days that they actually owned the companies for. Well, they owned it since October when all the agreements were done, but it doesn't count on accounting terms until the transitions are fully completed. And therefore, the first two were done March the 23rd. The filings were ended at March the 31st, so they could only show a week's worth, which was $169,000, which is 8.2 million, just if you were to go multiply that by 52, right? So, which is huge for where they're starting, because you got to remember, they also had to have that brief dip in Q1 because the transitions, as far as I see this, is okay. So when the transitions were done, the one company transitioned it over to Stavros, but he couldn't touch it, so it was in what is that called? I can't remember what it is. 1 second here. I'll figure that one out before the end of this here. But I'm just trying to remember the exact legal terminology for it. So basically, it's on hold. They don't have it, and Stavros doesn't have it. It gets put into a power of attorney. That's it. And the power of attorney then transfers the funds over, but we cannot claim them as revenue because they weren't in our name fully and completely at that time because of the software that was transferred over. And once the software gets transferred over, that seems to be when fully transitions happen, because that's when he gave us hints in the interview that I did with him, that that the transitions were fully, or 2 of the 3 were almost completed type thing. And I have that as well. But you see, actually at the time they were fully completed. He just couldn't tell us that because it wasn't in 10K yet. Like the 10K was coming out.
Some baller brought something up that I wanted to share. I don't understand why DVLP's last filing was in 2019. And if you do look at
well, that's not true. That's where the last filings, you have to scroll down to actually see what the SEC filings were, because they're fully SEC reporting.
And that's
it's going to be a different section.
Yeah, right here. So if you look, and this will help you, you can see where things sort of picked up right there. All right, there you go. All the filings for SEC, boom, right here. So always look below where the actual filings and disclosure, where it says OTC disclosure news. Go below where it says more, and it'll be SEC filings right down there. That way, that'll help you out a little bit. So you could go ahead if there's anything else, obviously, that you want to share with us. I just wanted to show some baller that. So,
okay, yeah, no worries. Okay, so now here's the software control one right here. So I'm going to click on that one. You should be able to see that one here.
Softwares over to one is still not have the software turned over, and the other 2 changed softwares over to us in March, as in like 3 weeks ago. And that's how intense and how long this stuff takes and is dragged out. We figured 60 days, maybe 90, and we're looking like 5 months plus or minus when we actually are starting to get to them. We are in control of mostly 2 of the 3, right, main ones. The sales are the great thing is the sales and the demand for these medications is off the charts. The more we can build the foundation out and look to expansion, I think the sky is the limit on revenue. There is no doubt that there's more demand for the stuff than any specialty pharmacy can supply. And the drugs are that effective, right? Whatever, you'll see some of them in the news coming up. They're so effective versus other.
Okay, so now I asked him about them being in the news, and he said he actually has to get permission from the drug companies and stuff like that to be writing them. So I don't believe that they're going to be named in any press releases. Just to state that as a fact, that we don't want to have him say stuff and then not do it, but that's part of why he can't do that part. However, the revenues are there. And as you see there, he said we are in control of most of the 2 of the 3. He didn't say we are in full control of the 2 of the 3, though, did he? So he gave us a hint there, but he wasn't allowed to tell us the exact truth at that point. So,
and well, I think majority control is where companies sort of get me, where I like where they have majority control. There are a couple of companies that I'll talk about, here, that don't have majority control, where they may have only 49% control of that company. And that I like to have more than half. I like that 51% because they have more say in what happens. And, I think that is absolutely crucial to these acquisitions.
Oh, exactly. That is so true, except it's not even a percentage based on it. It's either they're in control or they're not in control.
Essentially, yep.
So it came down to they purchased 100% of all these companies. So no matter what, it was just about the logistics of it, and the software changing over and things like that. Which because it's a pharmaceutical company and government has control of those kinds of things, you have to go do things completely by the book.
Mm-hmm.
So. And the book is a lot longer in those kinds of things than it is in a regular business, so to speak, right? There's so many hoops to jump through. And that's why the control was taking so long. Not that the transaction never happened. It was 100% transaction to those companies immediately when it was done and the purchase agreements were signed and all the money was transferred over to them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's no way any kind of control can revert back to the companies where they came from. It's just, and it's 100%. All it was is basically being able to claim the revenue. And also, since we didn't have control of them, after Q4. See, Q4 is different because Q4 there's that power of attorney that has the two together. But once Q1 rolls around, everything stops like that, right? So now they don't have the means to purchase the drugs to sell them because they don't have the licenses. That was why the brief dip was for the revenue in this quarter. And being that we now have full control, you're going to see the revenue spike huge again, like it was when it was in. Why do I want to keep forgetting that word? Anyway.
Yeah, like and like it said in that PR that it was to be expected in the first quarter,
right?
And you know we should see a surge, you know, and that's the thing. And you know I'm gonna put a comment from Justin. Yeah, also thought they were further along. You know, I get it because like and that's one thing that I'm learning. The more I trade, the more I invest, is that there are setbacks. There's so many loopholes. There's so many contingencies that need to fall into place for things to happen perfectly, and things just do not happen perfectly in the business world. There's setbacks. There's not, you know, it's not point A to point B. It's point A, and you have to take a billion different paths to get to point B. Some are easier. Some are a little bit more difficult. You know, but you know, it doesn't happen the way it should. Hopefully, you know, and this is the part about waiting, especially now. We want to make sure that when that Q2 comes out, it is in line for what they predicted in that February article. And then you know that that's going to increase further trust in that company. What did George say here? People follow the crowd, and the crowd is dumb.
Well, that's why you have to do your own research and know what's going on, right?
Oh, and the crowd is dumb.
That's why I think that's why the sell-off today too, because people didn't understand what was going on. However, the company is stronger today than it was last week.
Yeah,
right? Like it's getting stronger all the time. The more they get closer to the transitions, and the more they can grow organically. And I got something about the organic growing here as well.
Yeah, let's pull it up. George, okay. Bills game?
Here we go.
I'm not ready yet. I got to pregame that thing.
Got transitions completed. Here we go.
You guys growing organically already?
I'm just going to switch that again. Hold on.
Next question there. Are you guys growing organically already? With the companies that you do have already under the belt type thing, with the licenses you do have and are producing the revenues with?
It's been very difficult to attempt to do that when we don't have the transitions done and aren't in control of them, right? And there's a number of different reasons for that. But as we start gaining more and more control of them, right, which two are very, very close, and the third one is not as close, but it doesn't need a lot of steps. It just needs a few big ones. That we'll be able to easily achieve that. The putting on a sales rep or two and going out to grow is going to be like an overwhelming amount of business. Just from the sales reps we know, I mean, overwhelming amount of business. So what that would entail is making sure that all of the relationships and contracts are in place. So as a
next question.
Okay, so that basically explains how we're going to grow as the contracts are in place, which basically is the transitioning, right? So that is showing that again that oh, hold on, here's about Florida itself. Hold on, here's one more.
You got it? You know what we could do? Just because I want to keep it going because I have a lot of stocks to talk about. Could you actually take the link to that whole interview and pop it in the comment section?
Yeah, for sure. For sure I will. There's just a couple more things I got to say then, and I'll make
Yeah, absolutely. You got it, man. I know we're having, you know, next time, because I definitely want to have Hobbs on again. We'll work out some technological kinks here. So
okay, so with there's also, I'm just going to go through. I'm not going to come up with any more facts. Just well, they're all facts, but I'm just going to not show you any more videos or anything like that. Okay, so massive demands for the pharmaceutical prescription specialty drugs. There's the Reg A is fully completed, like I said, assets increased. Plans for organic growth as well as uplist to NASDAQ. Lots of business and expansion in for Florida alone. Minimum 30 million revs, up to 100 million. Now, the minimum is if they can't turn things on and all that other stuff. However, you can see that we're getting all the licensing, we're getting everything. It's just taking a little longer than what we wanted. The roadmap will be coming soon as well, from what we understand. And the investment bank. Can I just play one more clip for you here, and then that's it?
You got it, man.
Okay. Here we go. Hold on.
We're going to get this down. We really will.
One big investment bank that wanted to do some research reports on us and sponsor us to go NASDAQ. I think I'm going to go in June out there and meet with them. We do have one big.
That's it. That's what I got for you guys for Dvlp. So being it's a startup company, it looks to be pretty good, being that they had 9.5 million revs in the first Q or last Q of 2022. And first Q was a little slower, obviously, like we said it was going to be, but we expected that. And Q2 should be popping. Q3, Q4, we should be going good from here. And he has no plans for any kind of dilution. Oh, one more thing I just want to show you about the dilution. Okay, so I'm going to share this tab here. As you can see, the last change was made recently. However, before that, there was no changes in share structure since December of last year. And the only reason why there was any change this year is because on May 8th, the company entered into a consulting agreement with an unrelated third party for services to be performed. In exchange, the company agreed to issue 40,200,000 common shares, with 15 million being issued immediately, and at a rate of 8.4 million for the next 3 consecutive quarters. Now, that's the only dilution, and I believe that's to help with our expansion. I don't know 100%. However, the CEO will be explaining that one to us as well. But that was in the subsequent events, which is what you tell people after. So
and, we were talking about, and actually Sam Aker, he brought this up in a podcast a couple of weeks ago. We were talking that there's dilution for many different reasons, but at the end of the day, it's either going to help or hurt the company. And so you want to look for, and we're going to talk about adding shares in a second, but when you're adding shares for a good purpose, not just slinging out shares left and right, to pay for the janitor for the bathroom in your mom and pop shop. That's the whole point, is you want to be enlisting people and enrolling people and giving them a percentage of the company that are actually going to bring profit and value to the company. That's the whole purpose of this. So fingers crossed. And based on if he's going to do what he says he's going to do, if this one has a buy signal at this point in the 2s. You guys remember I was waiting in the mid 3s for this one. Here we are in the glory land for this. So, and this is not financial advice, but
And one other thing about the where was it now? Hold on. Oh, about the dilution from last year. We had convertible debt of over 160,000. Now it's down to about 20. It was 27 plus the interest. So I think it's like between 30 and 40 or something right now. Now, the thing about that is the convertible debt, the owner of that has no plans to convert. He's made lots of money in the past with Sabros, and his shares, he has no reason to be converting in this right now or anything. He said there's no plans to convert. And part of that dilution last year was paying the convertible debt down. Convertible debt holders cashed in on between 170,000, let's say, down to 30,000. So let's say 140,000 approximately of convertible debt that was taken care of. So being that said, the company looks pretty strong in the future going forward. And the reason for any kind of dilution, there was definitely reasons for it. not just for the CEO to line his pockets. And that's all I got to say. I thank you for your time and appreciate all you do for everybody on here as well.
Well, you know what? I'm going to say thank you to you. I hope to have you on again. I know it's crazy when I have so many stocks to cover, and so I really want to have a Dvlp session at some point in the next couple weeks where we could combine forces. Actually, we could stream from both our YouTube channels. You know, that's the whole thing. You know, so let's try to get together on that and really spread the good word. And really, everybody that's watching, it's all about spreading good due diligence and sharing information with each other. Mr. Hobbs, dude, thank you so much for coming on the BFC and sharing this.
Oh, you're welcome. Let's just keep it factual out there, guys. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the crap. Believe what is in the filings. Believe what the CEO says, not what people say in rooms. Because you got people. I'm in a chat room and they're like, "Oh, all the institutional investors sold today."
That's impossible. It can't happen. That's
a bunch of crap. People can say anything they want. That's the thing about it. Anyway, that's all I got to say. Thank you again.
Thank you, Mr. Hobbs. Great having you.
All right. Thank you.
Salvatore, you had me laughing up there. And if Brett Rosen is listening or if he's watching, cheers, Brett. I hope you're having a great night. Guys, I'm just catching up with the chat. Arlex is in the house. Justin, great questions, good comments. Sunballer, great to help you out earlier. I'm glad I was able to show you where those filings were. Krager, welcome. All right, excellent. So yeah, this is pretty exciting. So that's awesome. House is awesome. I can't wait to have him back on and talk some more. Now let's get into some more news because we have a lot to cover. All right, so let's go to Dddx. Now, yeah, we're going to find out something about Dddx. Now, 3 cents, 348. I want you guys to look at one of the sexiest share structures in the OTC right now. A market cap of 2.9 million, authorized shares of 175 million, outstanding share count of under 100. Whoa, wait 1 second. There have been some shares added here. One thing that you will notice, though, all right, because I'm going to share something with you, is that it's the restricted share count that has went up. And the float is a nice, cute little 44 million. This company moves on little volume, and we've seen it. I've been watching it. I am heavily invested in this company now. I do own 1.5 million restricted shares that I've went in on a group with. So I'm really excited about it. There are multiple shareholders in this. They were doing some fundraising, so I'm very happy to take the plunge and invest in Dddx. That's my info today, and he's going to explain all of this. Explanation will be in the next PR. Short story, it was a financing from existing shareholders here on Twitter, all restricted. Management has agreed to cancel some from the CEO, all info in the next PR. And that's sort of that's the kind of stuff I'm looking for in a CEO is to, you know, they're looking for investors. That's right. What do you say, Sam? I'm the dilution king. Now, when the price goes down, who's going to blame me? Because I'm not selling anything. These shares are locked up for a month. Jord is in. You know, we're all very enthusiastic about Dddx. 1, the share structure is amazing. 2, the management kicks ass. I've been in contact. I've had Nick Coriano on the show. You know, I didn't invest before I had Nick on the show. It's sort of all about DD and how comfortable I feel around people. I feel very comfortable with Nick Coriano. And I've had a chance to talk to Roger Jansen. I'm looking forward to having him on. I'm going to work in conjunction with management to try and stream the shareholder meeting that's going to be in Washington, and our good friend Jord Hugga will be on site. I'm going to try and stream that through the BFC, so make sure that you guys tune in. I think it is June 9th. Jord, am I correct? Is this shareholder meeting June 9th? All I know is that the share structure looks great. The management is solid. They're enthusiastic. They're ambitious. We're talking government contracts. They recently got a certification in which they are going to be able to do more orders for the DoD. This is a young company, but I'm telling you, if you've ever watched any of my interviews with Nick Coriano, the guy is fire. He's energy. And what you see is what you get. I could tell you that right now. And so that is the news, is that, you know, I am now officially in. Jordan and a couple of others of us are officially in Dddx, and I'm very, very, very excited about it. Let's keep moving on. let's move on past this. Let's move past that. Now let's talk about everybody's favorite stock, IGPK. All right, yes, the yield is still on. It's still on. Delinquent SEC reporting. Oh, Gene, I did invite Gene on. He has other stuff going on, and he really wants to wait until everything is cleared up and all the housekeeping is done before he joins me back on the BFC. Gene has been pretty transparent. I really feel he wears his heart in this sleeve. I think that he's all in on the business, but like he stated, this is the first time with the whole SEC baloney. And so, well, it's not baloney, it's real business. And so he is having a couple setbacks with the auditors. The market cap is 2.3 million, authorized share count of 2.65 billion, and an increased outstanding share count of 2.3 billion as well, float of 1.4 billion. I like Gene. I like the company. I'm willing to be patient on things. That if there's one thing I realized, I'm looking at Arlex's comment over here. Yeah, Gene, the t-shirt machine. Honestly, I own 2 of his shirts. He sent them up, and with the Buffalo Fireside Chats logo. And I'm not just saying that they're good shirts because I got them for free. Well, maybe a little bit. No. But no, he did. He sent me up a couple prototypes. I was very impressed with the with the quality, and I'm very happy with the quality of the shirt. But I do want to go back to what he said here. I think this is important. Like I said, I'm rooting for IGPK. I'm rooting for Gene. He's very passionate, especially about the apparel side of his company. Here's what he had to say in one of our last interviews. So let me start with the obvious points here. The filings are still not completed. What's the holdup? I mean, given the smaller size of this company, how can an auditor not have this completed yet?
Okay, so everything's been given to the auditor. I mean, I'm as frustrated as everybody is. Just know that. No, I might be a little more frustrated than everybody else is. The important thing to know is the business hasn't changed at all. So the business is still going on right around all of this. And I've run many companies over the years successfully. And I have to be honest with your listeners, this is the first fully reporting SEC audited company that I've run. So there was a little OJT there. And when we were in the middle of the transition, we probably could have, signed on with everybody a little sooner. We might have lost a week or two, but we really had plenty of time to get it done. Our holdup right now is the valuation we paid for, the MTO and the consolidated valuations. We're waiting for the final report. We received the draft. A couple of things need to change, but the numbers won't change at all. Once we received it, I would imagine it shouldn't be, it'll be real quick for them to button it all up. They've gotten all of their numbers. They've done, to the best of my knowledge, the auditors are done with all the testing, everything they needed to do. Probably a few little things along the way. I had thought that, when I put out a tweet on this, that we would be filing about 2 weeks late. I may miss by a few days, I guess. It shouldn't take them long to finish. Once they're finished, we'll hit the Edgar filer and we'll get them filed up. They are in process. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed with the company when people bought the stock 2 months ago. We're just waiting for this filing. And if people feel that the filing is a reason to run scared, I can't do it. I knew this would happen. It breaks my heart, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, would you consider hiring an in-house accountant or a filer to make sure that these filing issues don't become a regular occurrence? And do you have somebody that you could count on to make sure that these types of things aren't redundant?
Well, would I consider it? No, I wouldn't consider it. I've already done it.
Okay.
Consolidated has a CPA that takes care of all of their books. They have since the very inception of this. They're a great firm, and they got this thing buttoned up fast. I have complete confidence in them. Then we have another CPA that specializes in public firms that's doing the IGPK side. So there'll always be hiccups, but I have complete faith in these two people to make sure that everybody else has what they need to file
Yeah. So obviously, I mean, he does have faith in the people that he's working with. Obviously, this isn't, I mean, I'm just gonna wait it out. I got in at 0007, so I'm not complaining, but there are people that got in much higher, and there was a run up to close. I think it was 0028, and I could just understand the frustration there because this goes to show what happens when things aren't in order. This is just it. I think Gene's a great guy. He's always welcome on the show, so this has nothing to do with this is nothing personal, but this is a setback. He understands it's a setback. I've had a couple conversations with him, and trust me, he's pretty pissed off about this. But once this does get cleared up, all right, God willing, if this gets cleared up, as a CEO, I think he's going to make a point to not let this happen again. And I know if I was a CEO, this would not be happening again because fire would be coming out of my ears. All right, so that's a little update on IGPK. I'm rooting for IGPK. I'm hoping that they hit their price target of 2 cents. I have 1 million shares of it, and let's move on here. Let's see. All my eggs are in the basket. Which one, Arlex? Yes, I know where you lie. You lie with Ilus. A lot of us do. That's my number one stock. It's my number one investment. I'm rooting for those guys 100%. But we're gonna get to Ilus in a second. I'm gonna keep this party going. How are you guys doing though? Hit the like button if you've not hit the like button. It does help the algos. I want to get the Buffalo Fireside Chats family up to 2,000 subscribers. It'd be nice to do that by midsummer. The more, the merrier, right? We're going to talk IFAS too. Actually, I do have a Q&A with a heavy investor in Ilus coming up. So let's talk a little AITX. I just wanted to share a little bit of this with you. 006. Yes. I got to say something about AITX. I understand that there's a lot of people that are bitter shareholders. It is, even going on StockTwits, it is crazy toxic. But you know what? There's a lot of pissed off people who've lost a significant amount of money on the investment. I get it. And trust me, I think a lot of the CEOs get it too. The whole point is not to tank their company, but we are facing recession and a bunch of other things. But they do have a hefty share count here. 6 billion, 7 billion authorized shares, and a market cap of 42 million, which, and by the way, he did, in that interview, he cleared up those notes. Steve was a great guest. I can't wait to have him on again, but I could see how people get upset, people with their emotions on their sleeves. But the truth is this: if you're sitting on StockTwits and you're posting something like 30 times a day, and you're not even invested anymore, those are just people that you want to block. You don't want to deal with that because that's pure emotion right there. That's trolling. We all make bad investments. That's just the fact. I have nobody to blame for a bad investment I made. I have to look in the mirror and own it. That's what it comes down to. A lot of these companies have to dilute. Well, nobody has to dilute, but in a way, you do have to add shares. I think they're going to be successful. Whether or not there's a reverse split, I think they're going to have to split at some point. But I do. He also talked about a spinoff, so about doing a Red M spinoff. So we have that to look forward to here. Check their website if you are. AI fascinates me, and like I say, if you're convicted, if you have conviction, I'm not convicted. If you have conviction in your investment, don't listen to people that are going to actually give you substance and not give you comments just fueled by emotion because of their loss. You got to do your due diligence. You got to read the filings. You got to read the PRs, and really, you got to build a trust for who you're investing in. I like to invest in people more than like the hot new item. So here it is. There's their website. Give it a check. They do updates often. He's very transparent. He's very active on social media. And welcome to AITX. I'm your AI-powered investor relations agent, Rad Dog. The chat has been closed. Start a new chat. What do we want to ask this thing? Let's check this out. Hello. This is just funny. I'm just having a little good time, but I want to actually play a clip from. How can you here? You can just get all the information from a Rad Dog bot. But I think it's a fascinating company. I'm going to be following these guys a lot. Steve was a great guest. Let's go to a moment where he talked about basically where he sees AITX in the future. OTC forever. I've never been convicted. I always do that though. Seriously, John's Gold and Silver is in the house. StockTwits is toxic. I'm banned for telling the truth. Listen, John has a very unique YouTube channel. And it's hard to tell whether he's serious or not sometimes. But he's a I think you're a Buffalo native, sir. But if you haven't had a chance, check out his channel. He does put up some funny stuff. And he loves stocks. He loves all kinds of stuff. You know what I mean? Like the guy, he does everything, you know? So, you know, he had me laughing. I forgot what video you put out, but you had me in tears, bro. So shout out to John's Gold and Silver. All right, let's look at the latest AITX clip. No, thank you, John. Thanks for joining in. Let's check out this clip from AITX. Jeez. Can you paint a picture of where and how you see artificial intelligence in 10 years from now? And I know you touched a little bit on that with the prop tech. And how will it impact our society? And I'm not just going to generically ask you, you know, will a robot be delivering my pizza in 2033? But where does AITX fit into the future you see? I'd love to just hear your response to that.
Sure. And I love that you clarified the question with that ending question piece, right? Because it's easier for me to share with you where I think AITX will be in 10 years than where I think society will be at large. AITX is building the technology to hopefully dominate prop tech, to redefine and dominate prop tech, which is about a $50 billion business right now. So that's really exciting for us. That means more products, more software, more connectivity, more across the breadth of systems out there. It's also going to involve some consolidation in both the guarding businesses and the security integration business. So it's going to be very, very, very interesting. But there'll be some, and this will be across a lot of industries in terms of consolidation and simplification as some platforms become dominant incumbent platforms in the industries. So that will happen. And where do I want us? I want us dominating ingress, egress, loitering, deterrence, physical interaction in terms of deterrence. I want to take our Romeo platform and make it into a delivery vehicle called Dave. You know, we've got the technology. I expect Rad Dog to evolve from being something, you know, as a security deterrent to being more of a personal guard in many ways. So the future for us is pretty bright. And I'll share with you on a closing remark from me, and you close however you want, is that you know, I've suffered a lot throughout this process, right? I went years without pay, sitting in a high risk environment where nothing was guaranteed, and nothing still is guaranteed for me, for you, for anybody. But I certainly gave up other options and opportunities in order to bring this company to where it's at. I will share with you that one of my key motivations, what gets me up in the morning, puts a smile on my face, and makes me go fight for the day for this company, is that I know that these innovations are going to be brought to market by somebody. And I'm going to be the guy to do it. Not going to give up until we do. So that's where I'm at.
Unbelievable stuff. So I'm looking forward to having him back on. Well, guys, Tactical Reviews is in the house. Sorry I'm late. Huey 420 here. Go E-Rock. What is up, Tactical? Always good to have you. And Jordan follows up. Finally, Stalker. Oh, yeah, always have a joke, don't you, sir? He is always the life of the party. So, all right, we have still so much to cover, guys. I love this hangout. I like the fact that we have the BFC fam and we're hanging out. Like I said earlier, if any of you guys want to come on the show and share some of your DD, I've had Jordan. I've had a bunch of people on so far. You know what? It's about keeping it positive and keeping it real. That's it. All right, so let's go to, and we got to talk about this because, well, we just gotta. All right, Ilus sitting at a healthy 3 cents. All jokes aside, this is my favorite OTC, you know, and not because it has the sexiest share structure or because, you know, it has a revolutionary new no, I'm just kidding. No, but the MIST technology is amazing. But listen, this company does have some things to improve upon, you know, and that's just the truth. Every single company does. You know, JP would be the first person to admit, you know, the road is not supposed to be perfect. You know, but I think they're taking their time. I know they're taking their time and doing things the right way. And I always say it, and he said this once in the interview, and I'll never forget it. They want to build a foundation on stone, not on sand. And I'm telling you right now, they could be diluting Ilus to high hell, and they're not doing it. With everything that they've done in 2 years, They're still sitting, I think, at 1.3 or whatever billion shares. They could have easily added a ton of shares, but I think they're doing this to increase the Ilus parent, and that is good. That's going to be the cherry on top. You guys got to understand that. That's what's gonna happen. They're building each leg of the house or whatever. I don't know what analogy to use anymore. I usually say the leg of the spider, but let's take a quick look at this. I'm going to keep it moving because there's a lot to cover. So like they have all these different divisions: public safety, industrial, defense, renewable sector. So it's ERT, you got Qind, you got Hyperion, you got Replay. They are ambitious. Recently filed quarterly report confirms a 550% revenue increase, 44% increase in net profit, and that's important to get that net profit up, and 630% increase in the balance sheet over its previous first year quarter. Financial highlights from the first quarter 2023 report include revenue of 19.8 million, net profit of almost $1,914,000, and a balance sheet of 251 million. There's a lot of money going in and out of this company. Let's see what JP had to say about it. We have made progress in vital areas of the business and are pleased with the overall results as well as the prospects we have in place for the rest of 2023. Most of our businesses are affected by cyclical trends. There it is again. I can't say cyclical. I just did. And we have solid order books in both our industrial and emergency response subsidiaries. Therefore, we do expect substantial quarter-on-quarter growth through the remainder of this year. At the same time, we are working hard on several key growth areas in our emergency response subsidiary, which we believe will have visible effect from this current quarter and increase as the year progresses. And they are talking now about, after, and let's look at what Nick Link says. We have once again demonstrated our ability to deliver strong results in a challenging environment. We remain focused on optimizing and improving key areas within our business and delivering key milestones such as the uplisting of our industrial subsidiary to a national stock exchange, that's NYSE American, within the coming months before continuing onwards to exceed our annual forecasts. Early in June 2023, Ilus looks forward to making its next major public announcement regarding its first subsidiary uplist to a national stock exchange. Following this announcement, the company plans to provide an update on its second subsidiary uplist, ERT, which the Ilus board has made progress towards following the company's 2022 annual results and therefore plans to complete in 2023. And I'll tell you right now, if they do this, it's going to be freaking huge. If they uplist Qind, if they get ERT by the end of the year, we're talking it's going to be massive. They're going to do the same thing with Hyperion. They're going to do the same thing with Replay. And these companies we're talking about, listen, like I said, I know the share structure isn't the most gorgeous thing, but you have to look at everything that's underneath it. And that's what gets me. They're making it very sustainable, that share structure. All right. But Qind, we're talking hundreds of millions of dollars in and out in revenue. We're talking same thing, ERT. The targeted acquisition is close to 60 million. Not to mention, it's putting them on pace for another acquisition. And so they're just building upon. And before you know it, they are going to have close to that $1 billion rev mark. And that's what they've set out to do. And that automatically is going to increase the value of the Ilus share price, given its current share structure. So I am completely fired up about this company. I sometimes, I wish the share price isn't what it is, but I think there's going to come a day where we're like, oh shit, I should have bought more. And I do think that's coming. I'm not going to say it's inevitable because anything could happen, but this is absolutely promising. And I mean Qind, unbelievable, and a lot of these numbers from Ilus come from Qind, but guess what's going to happen? They have another acquisition. He talked about 230 million or 203 million, or I don't remember what it was, 200 something million in additional orders, for them to complete in 2024 and 2025. Well, think about it. They're getting additional orders now. They're still going to pick up additional orders if they're doing everything properly in 2024 for maybe 26 and 27. It's all about keeping that order book flowing. And that's what they're doing. So, and by the way, I'm putting all the links. It's all there for your reading pleasure. If you have kids, just read the first paragraph of one of these things and you'll knock them out cold. And then you can finally enjoy a bourbon. It's true. So let's look. Qind confirms its first quarter of 2023 results with increased net profit margin and positive outlook for 2023 quarter-on-quarter growth. All right. Quarter one revenue, 18.1 million. Net profit of 2 million. This represents a net profit margin of 11.1% for the 3 months ended March 31st. That's very good. That's very good. Hopefully the next acquisition for Qind does the same exact thing. And they said that the numbers are very similar to Quality International. So yeah, I'm not going to read through this whole thing. It's there. Take a read through it. But this is, oh yeah, okay, here it is. This I will read because it's pretty damn important. Very important. Having received a further 40 million in new purchase orders during the first quarter, the company has a current order book of 180 million purchase orders in hand, which it expects to deliver to customers during 2023 and 2024. Based on the status of current opportunities in its sales pipeline, Quality International expects to obtain a further 250 million in new purchase orders for delivery in 2023, 2024, and 2025. So like I say, that's going to change as time goes on too. They're going to have opportunities in 2024 where they may have to, they'll be doing orders for 25 and 26. That's the way I look at it. I'm sure that's the way they're looking forward. The projections matter. They get this in new purchase orders just from this one company under a subsidiary, under a conglomerate. That's how it affects Ilus. I'm going to go on the rant. The share price sucks. I know it does. It absolutely sucks. For those of you holding 30, 40 cents, you have balls of steel. And kudos to you. And it's not easy. And you're allowed to gripe from time to time. But if you look at it, if you just zoom out and look, I am telling you right now, this company is going to nail it. And I want to be the guy to say I told you so. I don't care if it freaking takes 2 or 3 years or 4 years. When they explode, when they have hundreds of millions in revenue, I'm going to say I told you so. And if they don't, whatever. I am rooting for these guys 100%. So it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. When is our economy going to get better? When is global strife going to stop happening? When's inflation going to taper off? There's so many factors that go into this. So that is my Ilus Qind rant. Let me know what you think about Ilus in the comments section. And that's one that you guys know from the time I launched this channel. That's one stock that I've been passionate about, 100% passionate about it. Why are we at 3 cents? Makes no sense. It is undervalued. But like you say, some baller planting seeds. A lot of these OTCs, they've already done in 1 quarter. I mean, they've done the 10 OTCs combined. And we just got to listen, it gets bad. All right. The worse it feels now, the better it's going to feel when we're riding high. And I totally believe that. It's not financial advice. All right. Nothing of what I say, I don't want you to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to go buy Ilus tomorrow, even though I think it's a really good purchase entry down here in the sense, but it's completely an undervalued company in my honest opinion. So, all right, I'm going to stop talking about Ilus now because I want to get to some of these other ones real quick. And we have IFIS to talk about. IFIS, there's a lot going on with IFIS, not to be confused with Ilus. It's its cuter sister. No, I'm just kidding. All right. Qind, we already got through that. So let's go to, make sure I'm screen sharing here, Cgra. Yes, this thing's just bumping up and down, 1 cent to 2 cents, 1 cent to 2 cents. What's it going to do? Well, I'll tell you, they have a new CEO. I did reach out to him, and we're hoping to connect in the next couple months, and he's going to hopefully share everything that he has going on. Seagrowth Capital unveils star-studded executive board for its sports division. Check out the link in the description. You guys could take it a read. Let's take a look here. So they're talking about strengthening their ambitious targets, and they have 2 acquisitions already in the works. One being, oh my gosh, Savage Barbell, which I ordered a shirt. I did a review for it. It was a great shirt. Me and my shirt reviews, right? And now they're going into mining. So I can't wait to see what else they have going on. But Seagrowth Capital is delighted to announce the appointment of former New Zealand rugby player and Rugby World Cup winner Stephen Donald to the board of its sports division as part of its new executive board. Donald brings to the table a wealth of experience developed from his illustrious career in international rugby. His insights honed from years of high-performance sports equip him with a deep understanding of the industry and will be invaluable in driving the strategic direction of Seagrowth Capital's sports division. Excellent stuff. We are thrilled to welcome Stephen on to our board. Said newly appointed CEO Mitchell Smith. Like I said, I'm looking forward to connecting with Mitchell at some point. His extensive knowledge of the sports industry combined with his leadership qualities developed by on the rugby pitch will undoubtedly contribute to our mission of identifying and capitalizing on investment opportunities in the sports sector. And so, take a look at this article. It's really, really impressive. It's a young company. We're going to see what they do, but I have a good feeling about this one, that this is one that I'm big on. So this is a little bit more about the lithium market. Take a look at both these articles. I put them in there. Take a read. But it goes on to talk about the lithium market, often referred to as white gold, presents a formidable opportunity as a key driver in the global energy transition. Lithium has seen its demand skyrocket. The market is estimated to surge from 525.8 million in 2021 to nearly 1.4 billion by 2026, showcasing a compound annual growth rate of 20.8%. So, next 5 years, that's quite impressive. So we're going to see how they exploit this and how they use it to their advantage. So any questions or comments regarding CGRA or hey, Scott, what's up? Are any of you guys in CGRA? Let me know, and let me know what you think. American Rebel Holdings looks like they make some cool Second Amendment products. I'll add it to my watch list. I'll take a look at the share structure, look at the products, look what they do. Heck, maybe I'll do a review. Why the hell not? Ronald Medina, he put that comment right there. I'll put it up for that way I won't forget. But yeah, so can we get some Kegs, DD? You betcha. And we're gonna get the Kegs, and then we're gonna get the IFAS. I'm not sure if Mike is in he's in CGRA. I'm dying here. I need some water. Woo. That's all right. The professor is going to give me a little bit of a speaking break. So let's talk a little bit about Kegs. I have a friend who actually spoke to the CEO. So he ordered beer. It wasn't delivered because he had to be at the house, and they missed it twice. Long story short, he did get a chance to talk to Tom Scott-Safosa, who's always welcomed on the show. I have 7 million shares of it. I mean, between my friends and I think we have like 25 million shares of this company. So Mr. Scott-Safosa, I think that's how you say your name. If I'm saying it wrong, I apologize. You're welcome to come on the BFC and check it out and share what's going on with what's going on with 1812. And listen, I'm going to go up there this summer. I'm going to do a live. I'm going to go there. I'm going to check out their brewery, and it's going to be awesome. I love going to breweries, and why the hell not? It's something to do. So yeah, Brad Weiser, shout out to you for doing some DD, but I go, did you mention that you own shares? He goes, nah, I did not mention any of that. He wanted to keep it professional, and that's really the way to do it. It's not hound people. I think, somebody just asked me earlier up there, how do I get people to come on the show and enjoy a chat? Don't be a dick. Let's start there. All right. If you continually bash a stock, or if you continually pump a stock, listen, I love Ilus. I'll be the first to admit where they need improvement and stuff. And there's a lot that I don't know that they need improvement on. JP, I mean, that's management, knows where they need improvement. I think a lot of people are. I mean, even Mark from Cybl, the buck stops with me. I truly feel that he does have people's best interests at heart, and so it's just a matter of conviction. So, but yeah, I look forward to going up to Kegs 1812, and let's take a look right here. They're sitting at 0002. I wish it was 002. I got into 0001. My one's filled, and so whatever. If it gets down there again, I might add more because I do think that this puppy's going to go on a run. So I mean, whatever. Let's see what happens. But what's really weird is like lately it does this weird thing, and every like 358 closes at 2, closes at 2. Right at 358, closes at 2. It's freaking ridiculous. The fact that this thing had like 1.1 billion in volume and it wasn't moving at all. Like, what the hell's going on with that? Let's look at the security details. It's not like, let's see. We got 6.4 billion outstanding shares. There are restricted 643 million, but there should be more movement with volume like that. There should be movement. I don't know what the deal is, but they have a float of 3.6 billion. Only a 1.2 million market cap, and I think with their products. Actually, I'm going to go look here. Investor Hub, they posted this. Kegs 1812 Brewing Company's War of 1812 Amber Ale approved for sale in Ontario, Canada, as momentum continues to grow. Now, check this out. There are people like, oh, it must not have went through. Well, nope, they've been approved. Sometimes these processes just take a long time, and that's what sucks sometimes. But let's take a look at this quick PR, and then we're going to get into IFAS. I know some of you are here for IFAS, so, and I just want to say, thanks for joining me and actually like chilling out as I go through all these stocks. This is more than I normally would take on, so it makes it be a long night. And I only have about 30 more minutes. So the chicken wings are calling. Oh yeah, by the way, I think it was Stock Hacker in one of the discords. We talked about wings. I said I was going to do them Friday. No, actually, I got my barbell sauce ready. As soon as this is done, I'm totally making some wings. Late night wings in Buffalo. That's what we do on Hump Day. If you are ever in Buffalo, by the way, if you are ever in Buffalo, check out Barbell. They have great wings there. I know you guys hear a lot about Anchor Bar and Duff's. Barbell has awesome wings. They don't take reservations, so you have to get your ass there on time. But I can't wait to put some of that on my wings later. Yes, it's going to be a late night up here in Buffalo on Hump Day. Let's get right back to the DD, and let's talk a little bit about not CGRA. Love CGRA, but not CGRA. IFIS. One thing that I thought I would never talk about on the show is cow shit. But here we are nonetheless. There's a lot of hype and excitement building with this. And so I just want to go through the security details here. And then I got a chance to sit down with the professor. For those of you in the Ilus Discord, you know him as the professor. And smart guy, unfortunately, he wasn't able to come on. So we had to record via phone. So I'm going to play that conversation. And it's meaty, but there's so much detail that goes into this. Check out the PowerPoint presentation that I put in the link. I'm not joking. Even if you're not even interested, you're like, yeah, screw IFIS. I don't care about investing in the stock. I'm here for CGRA. Just take a look at this, because the study that they put out it has a potential. I'm not saying it's going to change. It has a potential to save billions for the cattle industry. Unbelievable. 6.1 million market cap, authorized shares, 625 million. Outstanding share count, 493 million. And guess what? This is what I look for. Restricted shares are more than the unrestricted. They're buying up their own shares. 250 million in restricted and 242 million in unrestricted, with the float at 232 million. So it's unbelievable, what they're doing. And I'm going to show you a little bit of that PowerPoint in a second, but I want to get back to this audio clip. So if you are invested in IFIS, put that in the description. Let me know what you think. Let's look at interesting comment. I mean, in the sense of the economic impacts, IFIS solutions are the answer to inflation in feed prices and the nutrition. And the nutrition is, like I was saying earlier, I love a good product, a good meat product. That's important, So, yeah, he's talking about the unknowns. There's plenty of unknowns. I mean, whatever. I mean, I can't live day to day thinking about what if. I deal with people a lot. Like, well, what if this? What if this happens? What if that? Oh my gosh, who cares? You can't go through life thinking about what ifs. You just got to do it. All right, I'm gonna shut up and I'm gonna play this audio clip from from the professor. So let's take a look here. Ooh. Quick call. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
All right. So I'm just going to hop to it. Could you explain your role as an investor in IFIS and tell us a little bit about the IFIS DD and market research data you have accumulated?
Well, first off, I'm not an officer or director or insider of IFIS, but I am an outside activist shareholder and customer. In 2009, Impact Fusion International was going to introduce a drink line to compete with Gatorade, which is where I first ran across the ticker and got interested. I'll talk about more on that later. But jumping forward, I've been using one of their products called Intact Digest daily since 2013. That is why, when, where, how, and why I now know and have known since 2013 that the main product was unique. I've been what you'd call an expert in the nutraceuticals world for about 40 years now. So Jumping forward to 2014, my kids, college kids, tried out IFAS Intact Endurance, which is a concentrate you add to bottled water, similar to the Intact Digest I have used daily since 2013. My adult college kids used it at Spartan and Tough Mudder races, and an Olympic runner was sponsored using it at the UK Olympics about 8 to 9 years ago. That was the early history of the company and the technology. In 2013, Impact Fusion introduced what I call the trash to cash technology, converting waste sugarcane fiber into a cattle feed. That story hit my radar in 2013, and because of my background, I knew this could someday be huge. Being a nutrition expert, credentialed biochemical environmental engineer with my own inventions, patents, and business startup success history, I knew right away that IFAS was unique and huge. So that was the beginnings of the story there.
Now you mentioned the sugarcane, the fiber waste. Could you explain a little bit about potential investors, the process of converting sugarcane fiber waste into a bio-useful product with multiple game changer applications? I know we explained it. I know there's a very complicated process. I know you tend to over explain things, and sometimes I just wish you would just like slow it down, because sometimes my brain spins. Not gonna lie. So if you could just do like the simple process, just so people could understand in its most simplest form how this happens and what its usefulness is.
Well, it's a proprietary, ultra low cost process, and that's what the money people care about. In 100 years, no other company or university has figured out a cost-effective way to convert sugarcane waste fiber, known as bagasse, into a cattle feed cost-effectively. IFAS not only figured it out, but made it very cost-effective. And in the process of making a low-cost substitute for hay, they discovered that they had invented a game-changer feed supplement that lowers feed costs and solves many problems that the cattle feed industry faces. The cattle feed industry spends billions of dollars dealing with those problems that IFAS has now figured out how to solve, and we'll get into that further into the discussion here. IFAS now has those solutions in inventory, and they are now shipping product.
So I got to ask, can you explain, because I know I'm still wrapping my brain around all this. Can you explain exactly what happens when this cattle feed additive is used as part of the feed, and how does it save customers money? So, and what exactly, like, is the feed? Is it a liquid? Is it a powder? What exactly is that?
Basically, we put the sugarcane fiber through a process and infuse it with the key IFAS ingredient, Nutramastic, which is a trademarked proprietary formula that's also in the Intact Digest, the human supplement. When the cattle feed is supplemented at up to 65% of the cattle feed mix, the cattle eat less feed, they drink less water, they assimilate, digest, and absorb more of what they eat, and they convert more of what they eat into healthy protein. That lowers the total feed costs, and the cattle at the feedlots gain weight faster. Second part of the story is that they discovered, let's say by accident, that some of the customers that were using the feed early on, when the cattle were shipped to the feedlots, when the cattle were shipped to the slaughterhouses called up and wanted to know what these people had been feeding the cattle. And they asked the slaughterhouse, well, why are you asking? And their answer is that normally 75% of the livers of all of the cattle in the U.S. are so diseased that they have to throw them away. They can't even sell them for dog food.
Wow.
And the cattle that were being fed the Supreme Gold Plus had 100% healthy livers, and the slaughterhouses hadn't seen this before.
Wow.
The healthy liver is important to digestion and absorption and conversion of what they eat into protein. And that was when we knew that we had something more than just a substitute for hay during droughts that was cost effective.
Wow. Sounds like it is really going to impact the market. Like I said, for everybody listening right now, this is pretty impressive stuff. And I want to ask you this question because you did send me some documents, pretty cool stuff. There were several field studies done using this additive in cow feed, like you were just talking about. Now, this report, which is linked below, is 29 pages and breaks down the benefits of this. It's remarkable. You guys got to check out this report. Explain this to me and our viewers as if we are 10 years old. Seriously. But in all seriousness, what were the results of the study and how have potential customers reacted to it?
Well, the study is a user's guide, what we call in industry an SOP, Standard Operating Procedures Manual and Guide on how to use the IFAS Supreme Gold Plus feed supplement, how to introduce it to the cattle, and what the customers should expect. It includes recent field trial results, photographs, data under real-world conditions, and includes the references to peer-reviewed studies, industry guidelines, and manuals that the study followed. So basically, here's the results of the earlier tests and trials this year, with some major ranchers, with hundreds of cattle and hundreds of goats. And show step by step what they did, how they did it, what the results were, and how they documented the results. Which includes, if you get down to the last couple of pages, some details on the actual savings, which I think was your next question.
Well, I did have a question about the actual savings, and but my question is, this is very, very, I don't want to say sensitive information, just because the cattle industry is absolutely huge, and you guys are looking to really penetrate it nicely with a revolutionary feed. But have there been any documented side effects when it's used in cattle? Have there been any documented side effects at all? And have there been any negative aspects of this whatsoever?
Zero negative effects. All of the side effects, there are side effects, and they're all positive. All of the results or side effects have been game changers with shocking results. One customer already reported a reduction in costs from $3.50 per cow per day feed cost down to 45 cents per day.
Wow.
With no hay used in the feed mix. That's a cost reduction of $3.50 per day per cow, and to 45 cents from one of the current customers.
Wow.
That's an 80-something plus % cost reduction. It's huge. You multiply that times millions of cattle, and you're talking about real money. And that's a daily reduction per cow.
Wow. That's absolutely, that's remarkable. And how could, I mean, you're already explaining how you could probably corner the market, obviously, because this is unbelievable, the cost savings to farmers. But, what is IFAS going to do to corner the rancher market? There are a ton of heavy hitters in the industry. how can IFAS put a dent in and capture the market?
Well, let me add one more thing to your prior question. One of the things they discovered after 4 weeks is that all of the flies had disappeared. Apparently, the cattle are digesting so much of what they eat that there's no nutrients left in the manure. And the flies, the female flies, are no longer attracted to the manure, no longer laying eggs. And so the customers started reporting that the flies had vanished. And the fly control cost to the U.S. cattle industry is $1.4 billion per year. We just found this out weeks ago.
That's unreal.
Now, getting to the rest of your question, no other company in the world has this technology or process. So the heavy hitters are going to be knocking on our door, wanting to get in on this. As Mattress Max at Gallery Furniture says in his TV ads, IFAS Supreme Gold Plus will save them money. That is how we're going to take over the market or become the market supplier, whatever you want to call it. These guys will be beating the door down to be distributors.
I mean, it really is. If what you're saying is true, and like I said, guys, check the link of this study in the description. It's 29 pages. It's really remarkable. If it is as revolutionary as you say it is, and these studies are accurate, we're talking about saving $1 billion in cost for cattle farming or cattle production. Is that what you would say, cattle production, or the cattle industry, I should say? I mean, seriously. So
yes.
Let me ask you, like, is any of this patented, or you said trademark before, but does
patents simply tell the competition how to steal it? Coca-Cola's and Kentucky Fried Chicken's secret formulas are their secret to success. Everything IFAS has is proprietary trade secret.
Do you truly believe that IFAS is going to execute in a fashion that will stifle any potential client hesitation?
Let me say this. 3 weeks ago, Free Rural TV News, RFD TV, Real Credential TV journalists started airing an on-site visit video of the plant with customers at the plant, real customers at the plant, with the CEO on the plant tour that has gone viral in the cattle world for just the last 3 weeks. The customers at the IFAS plant explained their opinion of the results they have seen already in the large herds they tried to feed in this year. It's already gone viral. The oldest dairy newsletter since 1885 that has 3 dairies with 22,000 with dairy cows for feed dairy, republished at no charge because it is huge news. The RFD TV Twillicite visit video and the PR details. So shock and awe has started as this news has gone viral to the actual feed buyers world. So it's only a matter of time before Wall Street wakes up and loads up retail shares, in my opinion.
All right, Professor. Thanks for joining me for a quick call. I really appreciate it.
Yes, anytime.
So yeah, it's pretty impressive stuff. I definitely am looking for entry into this. It's remarkable, and this is my only reservation. Like, the cattle industry is huge, the agriculture industry, like, it's huge. It's locked up by a lot of people with a lot of money, and so let's see if they're going to let this product succeed or not. But at the end of the day, if it's going to save billions across the cattle industry, I can't see how this couldn't be productive. And so, like he says, it's in that shock and awe in the farming community. I think that's what he just said. And I apologize for the audio. We had to do a quick phone call. I got to get the professor on this show, like, in person, so that way you guys can ask questions. I mean, there's a lot of information. I urge you to look at that PowerPoint packet. Seriously, check it out. And I put the link in the description. I put it in the chat. It's just good DD. And even if you're not interested, you may be afterwards. So 1% Texas. Okay. I'm just check the chat. This is great. Between Texas and Louisiana. I'm just taking a quick read here, guys. So I'm going to share this. There's been analysis done for correlation between how many head of cattle eating SGP plus to stock price, and it is 5,000 head equals 5 cents to 11 cents per share, or 1,000 head per 1 cent. All right, essentially. So, okay, and that's the low end if you're thinking about 1,000 head per 1 cent. So that's a good way to look at it. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with IFIS. I plan on covering it more often. So we're going to see what happens. A lot of us want all of these companies that we're invested in to succeed. We're going to see in a year or two. We're going to look back and be like, who was it? Who did it? I'm running out of time. That's already been it's chicken wing time, guys. But I still want to cover 2 that I had on the list because I don't want to be the guy that says I'm going to cover it and not cover it. So real quickly, I have 2 left. And by the way, thank you, everybody. White Hot, Robert. Who else do we got? Bill, Brian, thank you guys. Lisa, good to have you. Jordan, always fun. So guys, thanks so much for joining. We're gonna do this again. Like I said, please tune into that interview next Wednesday. It's gonna be an open Q&A. And listen, we're respectful here at the BFC. This is for you guys. This is for all of us to get DD. I want to get these people on so that way you guys could ask the questions that you want. Let's get into the next ticker. Man, this is, if you would have told me a year ago I'd be doing a 2-hour show live, I'd have told you you're nuts. But by the way, I want to apologize. I did put that Kegs article in there because when my computer froze up, I sort of lost train of what I was talking about. But there's a good article with Kegs, and they're expanding the stores or expanding their operations. Share structure's big, but I think that thing's going to go on around. But let's keep on moving on. NUGN, all right. SEC reporting audited. All right, Levental Group. This had a beautiful dip that I was not able to liquidate into, unfortunately, but it's sitting at 6 cents. It was down in the 3s, and I've had Justin Matthews on the show. I'm hoping to have him on at some point. I'm hoping to have him on live. They're waiting for their Form 10 to get completed. He's been hustling a lot. He's been updating a lot of people on Twitter, and this was his most recent tweet. Very important and exciting development. NUGN. I know those are the types of messages we get from people in the OTC all the time. Important news coming, exciting developments. And listen, I hope anybody that's holding this ticker, it does happen. Just like people are waiting for Dvlp, Ilus, Cybl, or DRCR. We're waiting and waiting. The waiting game sucks, but let's look at what they said. NUGN Levental Group is pleased to announce an investment agreement with an institutional investor, huge deal, by the way, of up to $750,000. Furthermore, the same consortium, I'm probably going to say that wrong. It's been a long day, has also settled the promissory note. All right, so check out this tweet. If you're in NUGN, I do plan on making an entry at some point into this. It would have been perfect to do it the other day because I could have doubled my position, taken my profit, and been writing free shares. But no, I didn't do that. Always hindsight 2020, right? You know what I mean? But yeah, no. If you're in the NUGN, I plan on having him back on the show. I hope he is going to come on and break down into Boxo and all the things that they're doing. But follow Justin Matthews on Twitter. All right. Moving on. Last but not least. All right, DRCR. This one, the yield's on now again. I don't know. I mean, I think this is a really good company. The yield sign's on. I mean, this is none of this is to be like shocking when the OTC, the yield sign's on. Oh my God, skull and crossbones. Oh, shocker, right? High risk stocks. This is what we do. This is what makes it fun. All the anxiety now that we all are seeing in our portfolio is going to like turn into excitement when the bull run returns or when these stocks run. A whole bull run doesn't have to arrive for a stock to run. And the market may just catch up to the value of a company, that deserves a higher share price. And we'll see what happens. I try to keep it optimistic, but share structure 6.8 million, authorized share count 500 million, and outstanding shares 47 million. Boom, here it is again. This is my little indicator here. This is one of the EROC indicators. Look at the restricted versus unrestricted. 33 million to 14 million. This isn't a company diluting the high hell. All right. They have a 20 million float. That's less than triple DX. All right. And I love triple DX. I'm just saying, these are the things you look out for. And, here's their most recent PR. Swifty Global filed impressive first quarter of 2023 disclosure demonstrating 11,500% growth. That's absolutely huge. Look here in the second paragraph. Today, Swifty filed its impressive quarter 1 2023 financial results, with all metrics substantially increased from the same period 2022. The results are excellent considering that the company launched its first product to the market less than 12 months ago and has grown organically while also increasing its cash reserves and profitability. Swifty's rapid growth trajectory is illustrated by revenues reaching 19 million in the quarter 1 2023 versus 165,000 in quarter 1 2022. A quarter-over-quarter increase of over 11,500%. Cash in the bank has also increased by 7,166% during the same period. I think they put that in the link or in the description, this whole article. I wanted to cover it just to make sure that I want to be true to my word. I don't want to rope people in. If there's 2 people in there that were waiting for DRCR, I don't want to be like, oh man, that's the guy that puts it out on the thumbnail and never covers it. There is an article for DRCR right in the chat. And I will update the comments so that way, I will update the description so that way you guys have it in the have it there and you guys could click on it for your reading pleasure. But DRCR, that's another company that is doing amazing things in an economic pullback, a recession, whatever we're allowed to call it these days. That quarter-over-quarter increase is absolutely huge. I would love to have James Gibbons on the show. I think they're building a truly remarkable company. I think I'm not into sports betting. I don't do FanDuel or any of those things. But if Swifty Global was available in America, hell, I'd give it a shot. Why the hell not? So yeah, I'd love to have James on at some point so we could do a Q&A and you guys who are invested can ask open questions. So guys, that is all I got. This has been a really, really, really fun time. Super fun time. And like I said, I hope this is beneficial to some of you. I hope you guys enjoy it. If you haven't, if you're on right now, hit the like button. Share this with a friend, family, grandma. Get grandma's phone. Subscribe. I'm just kidding. That's all I got. I am going to probably post another update by the end of the week, and I'll keep in touch with you guys. Remember, there is more. There's more that binds us than breaks us. Have a wonderful day, guys. Peace.